What's up, everybody? It's your boy Flash from LWT Gaming, aka Malachai36. I am here with
Gravity-Mark 2. What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. I believe it's Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday for everybody still.
Sunday Fun Day. You know what I mean?
Sunday Fun Day.
What is happening, Gravity Man? How have you been over the weekend? How have you been for the past week?
I have been very busy. I have had a lot of different things going on, a lot of little things that just been stacking up. So been trying to get all that organized, trying to learn a little bit more, trying to squeeze some more anime in there because we definitely have some anime to talk about. Because holy, you and I were just talking about this. I just caught up with all of ReZero Season 2 so far, and my man.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the topics we are going to talk about. But there's something that you brought up that is not on this list that you kind of hit me with the left hook on. What are some mangas that you've been reading? What been getting caught up on?
Oh man, let me tell you, the newest chapters of Black Clover and My Hero Academia just came out today on the Shonen Jump app. So again, if you don't have it, $2 a month, $2, and you get access to all of their library, their whole current roster of stuff. You want Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. You want Yu Yu Hakusho. You want Bleach. It's all there. So definitely go ahead, check it out. It's $2 a month. It's next to nothing. But the thing that I was mentioning to you was actually that the newest chapter of Dragon Ball Super absolutely blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. So this most recent arc with Dragon Ball Super was the Moro arc. And that arc was mostly written by Toriyama's second hand Toyotaro, who's now doing pretty much all of the artwork for it. But now that the Moro arc is finished, they're going into this new arc that some people are calling the Granola arc. I don't know if it really has like an official name yet, but that's kind of what people are calling it. And this is actually one that's still being illustrated by Toyotaro, but is mostly being written by Toriyama this time around. And let me tell you, it's the things that this most recent chapter revealed absolutely blew my mind. It completely reshapes how we look at Dragon Ball in general, especially Dragon Ball Z. So you thought you knew stuff about Namekians? You don't know anything about Namekians. You thought you knew stuff about the Saiyans? You don't know anything about the Saiyans. You thought you knew about Frieza's army and how Frieza conquered the universe? You don't know anything about that.
That makes me excited, man. Let me ask you this: Is there any you know the video that we saw last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is any of that seems to be likely? I know that that's cross universes and all that good stuff, but is there anything like that seems to be likely for the future of Super?
Maybe the future. So far, I will say this: they're kind of, in a way, teasing another head-to-head battle. This is my theory. They're teasing another head-to-head battle with Goku and Vegeta. I'm seeing it down the road. It's one of those. It's definitely one of those those definitely long past kind of theories. But the way that they're kind of like structuring things, where they've talked more. This most recent arc of the Moro arc, they definitely heavily focused on Goku and his training with Ultra Instinct. So that was definitely something that was heavily talked about. They're kind of like lightly touching on it now, but they're actually they're kind of focusing a little bit more on Vegeta and giving him a little bit more power. Vegeta already did some more training and actually learned some new techniques in this most recent arc, but now he's actually learning a little bit more, and I think they're teasing another head-to-head battle way down the line. But to me, I think they just really like the antagonist for this arc is kind of one of those like antagonists by just kind of default. Like this character really does not like Saiyans and he really does not like Frieza. So they're definitely teasing that this character is probably going to be going up against Goku and Vegeta. And I'm expecting, honestly, another team up with
Frieza.
Goku and Vegeta and Frieza.
You don't think Broly's going to be in there?
He might be. He actually might be. Something at the very end of this most recent chapter, something big happens. Not going to say it. If you don't have the Shonen Jump app, please get it. It's $2 a month. It's, if you don't have $2 a month, I'm very sorry. But it's holy. I want to tell you more, but and if anything, like, I'm loving the manga so far. But what I'm really excited for is for any sort of announcement of when this is going to come back to the anime. We haven't seen. I mean, when did the anime end? Was it 2018, 2019?
Oh yeah, definitely before the pandemic for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely before the pandemic. So I don't know when we can expect the anime to be coming back, but everything that's been going on so far, I am super excited to see this in the anime. Like, I haven't honestly been this excited for Dragon Ball like since they announced the Battle of Gods movie. It's that nuts. Like I said, this most recent chapter just cracked open so much lore in Dragon Ball. Like, all of these people who've been like Dragon Ball theory people, just been talking about different theories. It's answering a lot of questions. And it's also asking some more questions. So it's really interesting.
Now let me ask you this, because I know this is all pre-show stuff and everything like that, but this is good stuff, so it might as well be part of the main show. Let me ask you this: do they finally explain how Goku and Vegeta turned Super Saiyan Blue?
They don't exactly explain how they turned Super Saiyan Blue. I'll say this: Super Saiyan Blue at this point is becoming irrelevant.
See, I just don't like that angle at it. I don't like that transformation, and I say that because the episode before. All right, so in the movie, it just happened, which was fine because it's the movie, and you're just like, okay. Yeah. And that movie was impeccable, by the way. It was impeccable. But
it was a great movie.
Yeah, but then when I saw that they were going to show that in the series, I was like, okay, they're going to actually explain it. And then at one of the episodes, at the end of the episodes, it showed that Goku and Vegeta were inside Whis' orb, training in there. So I knew I had to do something with that. But then like they punched Knuckles, like they did the whole little knuckle punch thing or whatever, and then something shocked through them. And that looks like what was going to be explained in the next episode. But then the next episode came and nothing was ever explained. So
yeah, like the most they've ever really explained it is just being able to master God Ki, being able to keep it within you, and like being able to like essentially kind of like manifest it whenever you need to at will. And to me, it's essentially like the way they've explained it is just going Super Saiyan God and then going Super Saiyan again, which is why they called it Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan for the longest time, which the manga even makes a joke about saying, that's too long of a name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he actually makes him a reference on that inside the movie. Like, Frieza was just like, what is this? He's like, well, I went through some changes, and let's just say that the shortened version is, I now obtained the power of a god. Like, it was something like that. And it was, I mean, I like the explanation, but yeah, they kind of did say Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan was a little too long. I didn't mind it, but I do get where people were coming from. Super Saiyan Blue did sound cooler, and it was a lot shorter. I just wish there was explanation of that. That was my thing. There was no explanation.
Yeah, the explanation was very just meh. It was just kind of like, oh, like I guess like for me, like I'm just like, okay, like I guess that's fine. You know, like I kind of wish that the build up for it was a little bit better. But if anything, I feel like with the writing so far, they're starting to honestly, I think they realize that they kind of screwed the pooch with Super Saiyan Blue, where like the reveals for pretty much almost all of the Super Saiyan forms has been something that's been incredibly built up to. It's been like the climax. It's been the crescendo. Like you had Goku going Super Saiyan against Frieza. You had Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 against Cell. You had Goku going Super Saiyan 3 against Boo. Like while he's like running out of time. Like and then you had him going Super Saiyan God in a movie. Mm-hmm. Like that was considered canon. Yeah. Like it was, all of it was really built up, and Super Saiyan Blue just kind of was like, it just kind of popped up. It just kind of appeared.
Like in the series, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like in the series, it just kind of just appeared, and the explanation for it was just kind of meh. Mm-hmm. And right now, they're starting to focus a lot more on Ultra Instinct.
Yeah.
They're starting to focus a lot more on Ultra Instinct, and I'll say this: Vegeta mentioned this in the anime during the Tournament of Power, where he talks about how he was trying to get Ultra Instinct. He was trying to use it, and he gets to that point where he's just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. I'm going to find my own power. I'm going to do my own thing. And that's actually what he's doing. Yeah. Like, Goku at this point is starting to be able to use Ultra Instinct much more efficiently. And Vegeta is just kind of going off on his own little journey, learning new techniques, getting stronger, and right now they're teasing something that's kind of interesting. We saw a little bit of this ability in the Tournament of Power from one of the other characters, and I'm having a hypothesis that Vegeta's probably going to be able to get that power as well, and I'm predicting a clash between Goku and Vegeta somewhere down the line. But this most recent arc, they're introducing all new alien races. They're introducing all new a lot of new characters, a lot of new settings, and even for some of the old characters, they're introducing more lore to them, like the Namekians. They go into a little bit more lore with the Namekians, a little bit more information with the Dragon Balls, and we actually get to see a brand new dragon in this most recent chapter. So I'm not going to tell you too much more of that, but we get a new dragon, new set of Dragon Balls. It's a whole thing. It's so good.
Yeah, and I going back to your Vegeta comment, that was one of the most comical things. First and foremost, they brought a lot of comedy in Super that I appreciated, yes. And it wasn't just like filler episode comedy. It was actual.
Oh my god! Like when Hercule punches Goku, and he's like, "Oh no, my wife's here! Like, quick, just punch me!" And he flies over the audience. He's like, "Ah!" And then he like grabs his little tractor and flies over the building again. He's like, I forgot my tractor.
Yeah, it was stuff like, and then like also, so there, actually me and my wife were just talking about this because we were watching Rise of the Shield Hero over the weekend. That's been her show. She's getting into it. She's halfway done with the series or the season. So yeah, fantastic show. But she's been watching that with me and everything like that. And one thing she's noticed is she was just like, the one thing I don't like about this show, which she really means just animes in general, is that it takes so long for them to do their incantations. So it takes them a while to like say, by the power vested with me, this is this, and then they do a blast. And they're like, that whole time when you were saying that, I could have just attacked you. They did that inside Super, to where the three little the girls.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's
when 17 just blows them away. Just like, no, you interrupted the transformation, and Topo just comes out of nowhere and is just, excuse me, you don't interrupt someone's transformation. That's not justice.
Yeah, it was really funny. Like they capitalized on that there too, and then like. So in that same vein, when Vegeta was trying to get Ultra Instinct, he closes his eyes, he's trying to think about nothing, he's just getting beat up, and then he just like gets irritated, just punches, just takes him out. But the funny thing, the one thing I also wish that they did explain on, because Jiren had found out why Toppo was able to be beaten by Vegeta, and he's just like, oh, I see. But they didn't say what it was. It was just one of those things to where you see that he's higher than Super Saiyan Blue for some reason, and you see that everything that was supposed to touch him was supposed to be destroyed, God of Destruction, but Vegeta was able to counter that because of his power, whatever it is. There's no explanation there, so that's the thing that I think that Super had dropped the ball on, is the explanation of how Vegeta went red. because that was also not really meant. I mean, I know it's another form of God or whatever like that, like it's different forms or whatever, but they never showed how he got that. They never showed how Vegeta or Goku got blue. They somewhat explained how he got Ultra Instinct. It was more of an explanation than anything else. That was a new transformation, but then they never showed how Vegeta got beat whatever it was that he was. I don't remember what the phrase was, but it is beyond blue though for sure. So
yeah, like some people have called it like Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, like, and that's the thing with Vegeta and his journey with God Ki in general is that there have been multiple sources that kind of say different things. Like if you look at the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot game with the DLC actually tells this whole other story that says that it was Vegeta that went through they did another ritual and they gave the power to Vegeta. Whereas like in the manga and in the anime, they actually are like, oh no, he earned this power himself. He trained with Whis, and through his training with Whis, he was able to gain that power his way. And Goku mentions this. Like Goku actually applauds him for it, saying like, hey, like I just did a ritual and got this power. He earned it by working hard for it. And that was something that, like, honestly, I like that version better. I like that version better of like that 6-month time gap where Vegeta is training with Whis. He's working his butt off and he's getting that power the way that he does. He's going into his gravity chamber going, don't bother me. And he's working his butt off and he's getting it. You know, where a lot of the time Goku just is handed stuff. Like he does train hard, but like more often than not, he just gets handed stuff. And so I kind of like that explanation a little bit better. I will say, with some of the more recent chapters of the manga of Super, I think that you might get some hints to the question that you just asked, as to why Vegeta was able to survive some of that fight with Topo. They've been dropping hints about it, so I'm not going to spoil what it is, but I will say, if you haven't read the manga, please go check it out. Like, these most recent arcs, like the one they're currently telling in the Moro arc, honestly, these arcs are better than anything that the anime has done so far. Like, any of the other arcs up to this point, these most recent arcs are better.
Yeah, man.
They're told so much better.
It looks like we have quite a bit to look forward to with the return of Shaman King, whenever that will be, return of Bleach, whenever that will be, more Super that's going to be happening eventually. I know that Hunter x Hunter, the artist, had claimed that they're coming back again, so we have a lot of stuff to look forward to. Yeah.
Please, like, let's get this man's health in check. Do we need to start a GoFundMe for him?
Isn't it a girl? I think it's a woman. I thought she was pregnant.
I thought it was a dude. I thought it was a dude.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I thought it was a woman.
I'm pretty sure it was a guy.
And as he's looking that up, just want to give a shout out to Luna Both 2 for the follow a few days ago. Hilo 4110 for the sub. Just that we'll give a shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys, love you guys, and hopefully we can give you guys that content that you guys are thirsting and striving for. Today again is All Day Anime episode 8. So anyone that's tuning in right now, we want to thank you very much again for tuning in. We have many things to talk about, which includes Jujutsu Kaisen, ReZero. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, as well as we have a special gem at the end of the show for you. Gravity-Mark 2, what'd you find?
Yeah, it's a dude. It's Yoshihiro Takashi. It was the same guy who did Yu Yu Hakusho.
So who am I thinking of? Because I know there was a writer that was a girl that stopped because she was pregnant, and then she just never came back to it after that. I can't remember which anime that was.
I'm not sure. I know. I don't remember. I was listening to another anime podcast a little while ago where they were talking about a mangaka who, like, and a very well-known mangaka too, where like just over time, like he's just kind of like just shifted to just writing, and he's actually had his wife, who's also a mangaka, doing all of the art for his works, and it was actually the mangaka for Sailor Moon, if I'm not mistaken. So I will have to like fact check that one just to make sure that I'm not mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. But Yeah, holy crap, man. The world of manga is it's so good. It's so good. And if anything, I love taking a look at it just because you just get a chance to see what's coming down the pipeline. Just throwing this out there. I cannot wait. I don't know if they're gonna do it or not, but if they don't give an anime adaptation to Kaiju number 8, I'm gonna rip my hair out. I'm gonna rip it out. Dude, holy crap! It's so good. Kaiju number 8, that manga, so good, and I would love to see that animated.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first story there for you there. Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I have to start off by saying this. I mean, I'm caught up with what's on the series. You have been reading the manga, am I correct?
Yes. So, if I'm not mistaken, because like I've seen the thumbnails for some of the more recent episodes, and it looks like the gang is still in the middle of their battle. They're kind of like their friendly battle with one another, and I think the fight is still again, spoilers if you still haven't seen Jujutsu Kaisen, please check it out, watch the manga or read the manga, watch the anime. The anime is on both Crunchyroll and HBO Max, although Crunchyroll has the most up-to-date videos, so definitely check it out. If I'm not mistaken, they're still kind of like, I don't know if they're nearing the end of the fight with Hanami, the tree curse, or if they're like still, or if that maybe has passed. Like, are they still, have they finished their fight with the tree curse?
The last thing that I remember seeing was this one curse that he's a white dude with white hair and can shape things in different sizes and shapes. And,
okay.
Yeah, and one of Itadori's friends, his mom was killed, and he's angry. He wants to get revenge. He goes back to the people at the school because he believes it was them or whatever. Am I past? Am I a little too far?
It almost sounds like you're maybe like it's a little behind, but I know you're not behind.
Oh well, that's the thing. I might be like, because I recently tried to.
Are you all caught up with the episodes that they've had out so far?
Yeah, well, for the dub.
Oh, for the dub, that might be it, because I know what you're referencing, and that was actually like, because when I first started reading Jujutsu Kaisen, like I read up to that point, and I finished that point, and then I kind of like put it down for a few months, and then I picked it back up recently. Is Itadori like, is he still like MIA from the whole rest of the cast at this point? Okay, cool.
That he's still dead.
Okay, awesome. So that's what we'll go from, because so far, like in terms of the anime, you are definitely past me. I've only seen the first 2 episodes of the anime, but I will say this: like, and I'm gonna say that about everything. Like, just like, oh my gosh, Gravity is just
Here the fair thing though is that majority of the time the animes that we talk about on the show are like topper type animes anyway. So don't be surprised if our feedback is usually like, oh my god, you guys gotta check this out, because that's usually what it's gonna probably be like. But then there's also gonna be some stuff that we don't like as well, and we're gonna bring that on the show too as well.
Oh yeah. I like to give everything like a fair shake. But yeah, I don't remember that guy's name. Do you remember the name of that character? Because there was actually something that I saw recently with the manga, that I actually like. I started to read it, and then I kind of like realized it was one of those like point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4 kind of chapters that they have like that take place like before the very start of it.
Okay.
And the character that you're referencing, I think it's a story about him. And the point, like chapter 0.1, it was like 53 pages, and I was like, oh, this is meaty. Mm-hmm. Like whatever this is meaty. It is juicy. I got to make sure that like I'm not like reading this like obviously like out of order, like at that point, like what is it? But I just want to make sure that like I'm like relatively caught up, so that way if they do reference anything, I can be like, oh, that's what they're referencing. Let me see here because I know which character you're talking about.
Yeah,
You're talking about the.
All I know is that the curse had already been warned by Sukino not to touch his soul again. Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And then the second time he touched it, Sukino was just like, "Didn't I tell you? You don't get no takebacks." And it was
that was so good.
Yeah.
That was so badass. Where he's just like, I thought I told you not to touch this soul again, because like it looked like he was like ripping it open, like he just like peered in, and it was just Sukino's face. It's like, I told you not to do this.
That's what it was. Yeah, that was the first warning. He's just like, "Didn't I tell you this?" And then it threw me off because I was wondering why that curse ended up getting attacked by Sukino. But then afterwards, the one guy with the glasses and the blonde hair, I can't remember his name is, but he has the little cleaver that's always wrapped up. But he explained to it saying like when Itadori had entered in to that domain, he ended up touching his curse. I mean his soul again just by entering in there. So it was Sukino that ended up saving everybody, and really Sukino wasn't trying to save anyone. He was just being like, "You touched me again, like you're gonna die."
Yeah, because it's and that's the kind of thing that I love is that like it's just like it's the little thing that like set him off. Where he's just like it's not even like a big thing like oh like you hurt my vessel. It's like you touched me like you went in my you came within my general vicinity. Screw you.
That's literally what happened. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it. And I'm trying to honestly, and pardon me, but like I'm still trying to remember the name of this character. I'm still trying to remember the name of this character. That is like he is a kid. He's the Jujutsu sorcerer who has like the black hair that was kind of talking with the dogs Yuji. It's not the one with the dogs. It's it was one around that time. Let me see. He's working with the like kind of like the guy with the patchwork face and the white hair.
Let me see here. I'm gonna see here. So we have.
My goodness, and this is what happens like when you like sometimes like when you just like watch a bunch of different anime all at once. Like, first of all, personally, I'm terrible with names in general. Like I can remember like things that happen, but like in terms of names, I'm just like, ugh. You're gonna have to give me like 15 episodes to start to remember people's names.
So it's not Megumi because that's Fushiguro. It's not him because that's the one with the dogs.
Yeah, it's not him.
All right.
Are
you talking about the guy that was just saying what's the best part of a girl?
No, but
Toto.
Toto. I will say this: Toto is probably one of my favorite characters. He's probably one of my favorite characters, purely in the comedic sense. His character is freaking hilarious.
I will say the curse's name is Mahito. That was the curse.
Oh name. Yeah.
And then the guy with the glasses, his name is Kento Nanami. So, but yeah, as far as black hair goes, if you're not talking about Megami, I don't know who it is then.
Yeah, it's and you'll see it down the line, but yeah, so far it's really good. And the fight because and you're referencing the fight with that's currently going on right now in the dub, right?
Well, with Mahito, it's the fight that's happening actually at the school grounds.
That's right.
Yeah, because Mahito ended up like I said, Mahito had actually before he made his assault, he was befriending a kid that was able to see her spirits, but he wasn't like a jujutsu sorcerer, and it was just him. That
was the kid I was referencing.
Oh, it was that kid. Okay, because I was about to say it was. Yeah, he does have black hair, and he is like almost like a goth type look, but he's like a nerd though, and he was always getting bullied and stuff. Yeah, and then like one day he was at the movies trying to watch
Junpei.
Okay, yeah, because
Junpei, that's his name.
Yeah. Now,
took me a while.
I will give you a heads up. It stopped where, and this is spoiler for anyone that's currently watching. a lot of this stuff is gonna be spoiler, but it will be a spoiler for me if there's anything more after this. It's at the point where he was transformed and he died. So that's at the school grounds. Mahito went up and touched him, transformed him to attack Itadori, and Itadori, like, he ended up like running out of life, and then he just ended up dying right there. He fell and was dying, and that really triggered Itadori to where he started attacking Mahito, and Mahito was just like, "Oh, you can't touch me because you can't know where my soul's at, or you're not aware of your soul." But Itadori was aware of his soul, so he actually was hitting Mahito and actually hurting him. So that's where I'm at. So that fight just ended. That whole fight just ended, and the way that ended was because Sukuna was just like, "I told you not to touch me again," and slashed him, and then Mahito ended up retreating through a sewer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's at. So if there's anything more with the black-haired kid at that point, that's going to be all news to me. Like, is he alive? Is he dead? I don't know.
So I'll say this: they haven't shown anything with him past that point. I will say I believe the chat the point 1, point 2, point 3, and point 4 chapters that they have for the manga, I do believe actually do talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, like that first chapter was like 53 pages. I don't even think it was a one shot. Like, it wasn't like the first chapter that was like supposedly a one shot. It's definitely like some meaty stuff. So they definitely are going to be talking about a lot. So I haven't read it. I don't know exactly what's going on with Junpei, but I do know that like Mahito, like, yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
Like, he ballooned his head. He turned he airheads the guy.
Yeah, he
gave him an airhead.
He literally transformed him into to pretty much a platypus that was attacking Itadori.
It's a weird looking thing. It's like it's like a lumpy thing. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. It's ugh.
It was sad.
It's really sad. And so far, like, how are you? So far with what you've seen from the anime, this might be a really silly question, but how are you liking it so far?
I like it.
Like, are you how have you been feeling about like the music choice as well?
You know what? I haven't really been noticing the score as much. I actually have not been focusing too much on that. I think that the end is really weird because it has like kind of like a jazz hip hop feel to it at the end, like when the credits start rolling and stuff like that after each episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course I skipped the beginning because for anyone that's hasn't watched anime before or is trying to take up watching anime, you kind of want to skip that opening credit because they will show spoilers in the opening credits at times. So you might want to just skip that altogether. If you want to have completely going in blind, completely shocked, I wouldn't recommend sticking around for the credits until maybe your second walkthrough, your watch through. If you don't mind that, I mean, it's not like major spoilers, but sometimes there can be. Like, I know for Hunter,
they drop a couple in there.
Yeah, I know for Hunter x Hunter, when they showed one when it was the Chimera arc, when it was showing the old guy with. Yeah, it was showing like, I don't want to be the one to spoil it for you guys. If you guys are planning on watching Hunter x Hunter, especially if you're watching Ohio, I don't want to spoil it for you because you're on the Chimera arc now, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah, that's the best arc.
Like that's the best arc.
Best arc.
Like that's like that's the arc that like people point to be like, watch Hunter x Hunter.
Exactly.
Like that is the arc.
Yeah.
But yeah, I asked that about like the music because like lately I've been noticing a lot more with certain anime. Where like I'm like getting really into it, like where it's a very emotional scene, and I'm just like really like just kind of like just sucked in, and just for like a split second I'm like, wow, this music is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I've been noticing that a lot about some of these more recent anime, like the soundtrack is awesome, and that's the thing about and that was why I asked like kind of about the music, because like the opening song for this anime is a banger. It's good. It's really good. There's also a cover that I sent to you that from somebody who did a cover of that song. And honestly, her cover is even better. It's a really great song. So like even if you don't watch it, give the song a listen. If you decide to like listen to that cover, listen to that cover. I ended up like listening to this cover. I believe her name. I don't, and I'm gonna screw up her name. I apologize. I believe her first name is pronounced like Rayon. It's like Raon, and then her last name is Lee, Lee. Check her out. She does a whole bunch of different anime opening covers. The composition of that music is really great. Her voice is just it's amazing. I've actually been listening to her covers for like a couple years now, and it's a delight. It's just always great just to see what she comes out with. And she did the Jujutsu Kaisen opening recently, and it's the full song too. It's not like just like the minute and a half. It's the full like 3.5 minutes. It's great. It's amazing. So that's why I ask about that.
Yeah,
but
I definitely, as far as score goes, I haven't really paid too much attention for that. I know there's been a few rock type scores that's been in there, especially during some of the fight scenes. But yeah, no, I've really been paying attention as far as the score goes, like the music goes. I have been pretty invested inside the plot, how it's unfolding, how strong they've been showing off Gojo to be. Absolutely love that. And like the whole premise of the curses is that they're trying to take this godlike character down. So that I thought was really cool.
I do love that. I love that so much. Because they do talk about that a little bit more, like very like kind of like within the next couple episodes they start to talk about that. But so far, I'm really loving it. But I also have another question for you, and this kind of like goes to our other hobby, which is gaming and talking about gaming news. If you haven't checked out All Things Gaming, check us out on Tuesdays.
Yep, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Little plug there. Question for you about this: what type of game do you think Jujutsu Kaisen would be, based on what you've seen so far? What kind of game do you think it would be? Do you think it would be just straight up fighting?
I think it'd be straight up like how My Hero Academia games are. I think it would be very similar to that. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you now? I'll say this: do you think it like so? Because I agree with you. I think a fighting game would fit perfectly for this series. Do you think that there would be another genre that like that could like include fighting that it could fit into?
The only other thing, and I thought about this too, and maybe this is just my own wishful thinking. I don't know if this will actually happen, but and I know I talked about this before, but the game The Bouncer, if you guys have not seen any gameplay for that, I think it'll be very similar to The Bouncer. Actually, you know what? Let me pull that up. Let me pull.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's a PS2 game, and I'll throw it inside, so that way people can watch it and see it and all that good stuff. It's a PS2 game.
Oh man!
And that fighting sequence is impeccable. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Let's see.
Was this? Oh, it was made by SquareSoft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fast forward a little bit. Okay.
Man.
Oh wait, it switched on me. I don't know why it switched stuff like that. Hold on 1 second.
Man, Square just makes a lot of really good games, don't they?
They really do.
They've been doing this for a while.
All right, so let me go ahead. You guys are gonna see a little bit of editing works here. So just give me 1 second. June. There we go. Bam. And live editing like we did last week. So be on the lookout for all that. And bam. Add. All right, cool.
Oh.
Bam. There we go. All right.
Oh, geez, someone made a mod for GTA 5 and put the bouncer skin in there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Dude, that's dope.
Okay. And now I'm about to go ahead and play this bad boy. Bam. There we go. All right, so transition. I'm also going to cut all the music. So right now, yep, they just said it. I don't know if you guys heard it. But the main character right there is Sion. That's Volt.
It's your ship. Yeah, I know.
All right. So you're gonna see a little bit of that there, right there. I can't remember what his name was, but he did all kicks. That guy right there with the tattoos and the green pants.
Then that means today's your first anniversary.
He's got some real big shoulders for someone who does nothing but kicks.
Yeah. Now again, remember this is PS2, so these graphics are not going to be good, anything like that.
I was actually gonna say, like, it actually looks like an HD. Is this an HD trailer? Because it actually kind of looks good.
This is old. I don't think it is, to be honest with you.
Like it
Sion
doesn't look like
or Ku. That you choose who you want to play as, and then it's gonna put you in. What was cool about this game is that, yeah. So what was cool about this game is that depending on who you played as, it would switch up the story. There's a lot of replayability to this game. It wouldn't you're playing from different people's points of views, I should say. So, but this is what I would. I mean, now of course a little bit more faster, more real time. I think this would be the gameplay that I would assume for Jujutsu Kaisen. Gadarano also types in saying, I think Jujutsu Kaisen reminds me a lot of Naruto. I like Naruto Ninja Battles games, and I think it would have success going into that route. I do agree. I do agree, but again, keeping in mind, this is PS2. This is older. This right here, like if this was a lot more fast-paced with PS4, PS5 type battle simulators and battle graphics and stuff like that, I think this would be absolutely awesome.
100%. Like, and actually, it's funny that you say this because like this was actually like what I was picturing in my head.
Oh yeah.
This is actually like this like setup exactly was kind of what I was picturing. But I do also really agree with Gadarano on this one. Like when I was starting to read Jujutsu Kaisen, I was getting very, very big Naruto vibes from it. There are a lot of similarities with it in the way that they're telling, they're creating the characters and they're telling the story and they're kind of structuring everything. There are a lot of similarities to Naruto, and not in like a bad way, you know, because like a lot of people like made that comparison with Black Clover, and Black Clover kind of branched out and kind of did their own thing, which was great. And I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen is starting to do that as well. They're starting to kind of like do their own thing, but I'm still getting a lot of Naruto vibes, especially with Gojo and Kakashi. There's a lot of, to me, like I still like look at that where I'm like, you look at Kakashi, he seems like the tired perv who's just constantly reading his dirty books, where he's just like, I guess, like, yeah, I'm good. I guess I'm good. Where Gojo's just like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like he's a lot more youthful. He's a lot more energetic, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm good. I know I'm good. Like don't get it twisted. Like I can whoop you. Like,
and I was about to say, as it's going further, I mean, I know there's a little cutscene and everything like that, but like one thing that was also really cool about this is that you start off with base combos on this game, and again, this is the bouncer we're talking about. Start off with, as I said, that the credits roll. Start off with the base combos, but as the game keeps going on, you start adding on more combos. And the multiplayer on this game was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So I again, let me go ahead and stop this. But yeah, but something like that. I think something like that would be really cool to have. Gadarano says, my only concern with this gameplay is that it doesn't seem to be small minions. It's mostly big fights. So that would, so what would they do about that? Now, again, for this one in particular, they do have smaller fights because they're able to do something like that. There are minions and everything. I'm just kind of messing with this a little bit. You wouldn't necessarily have to have. It doesn't have to be minions included. Because the multiplayer, and I didn't show you the multiplayer, but the multiplayer for that was like you could have a 1-on-1 fight like that. You could have a 2-on-2 fight like that. You could have a 3-on-3 fight, or you can have it to where it's every man for themselves. Like it was so fun, so crazy, so chaotic. Thinking of the ninja, not Ninja Strikers. What was it? Clash of Ninjas, I think it was. Clash of Ninjas 1, 2, 3. God, Rano, me, you, and your brothers and friends, we used to play that all the time on GameCube. Very similar setup to how the bouncer is. You just saw the adventure. Yeah, you just saw the adventure portion of it. You didn't see the actual like hand-to-hand combat where it's like competitive play, because that it's definitely there. It's definitely there. Like I can't remember his name. I think it's P20, P19 or something like that. That was one of my favorite characters on that game. But it was just and when you play stuff like that, it kind of brings you into that element where like, okay, if they had even more powers, if they had even more abilities, it's very similar to what's it called? Crap, what's that vampire anime?
Oh, Jesus, one Helsing?
No. Tokyo Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul. That one, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you remember Tokyo Ghoul's game, because they actually have a Tokyo Ghoul game that's out, that would be very similar in the same vein as Jujutsu Kaisen. The only thing, though, is that I don't think, I could be wrong because I didn't dive too much into this, but I don't think Tokyo Ghoul has a multiplayer type scenario. Remember, I said fighter. So there will be interchangeable environments, just like Tekken, just like Soul Calibur. There would be that 3D capability. It won't just be like a side-to-side fight or anything like that. There will be that maneuverability, very much like Power Stone, if you guys remember that back in the day, Capcom. But it would be Jujutsu Kaisen characters, and then the combos could be different. So I don't know. I think that would be really cool if they decide to bring something like that back, because we haven't had that in a very long time. What about your thoughts? What do you think that type of game it would be?
So I actually wholeheartedly agree that like it would more than likely be a fighting game. Or like, I mean, because like a lot of stuff from Shonen Jump, I mean, it's in the name. It's a shonen series. Yeah. So it's a battle series. We're gonna be seeing a lot of fights. We're gonna be seeing a lot of you know super crazy powerful moves. So obviously, it would be some sort of combat in there. Part of me, like, I honestly like what you just showed with the bouncer would probably be what I think would be kind of cool. I also agree with Gatorano that they could actually go down the Naruto route as well, and it would still turn out really well. Because like, if I'm not mistaken, like from what I remember with some of the Naruto games, they didn't do too much like filler with just kind of like having you fight like just a bunch of like nonsense people that just weren't in the series. Because that's what I've noticed with some games where like with the story, it'll be like, oh, like they went into the building and then they may have found like a couple of, you know, bad guys in there, and then they found the big bad guy, and then they fought the big bad guy. Whereas like the games will like really stretch that time before, and they'll just have them like go through all these different floors and fighting all these bad guys, and just like, well, like that wasn't really in the story. So like you kind of have to like find this balance, to me, like with the story, where you don't overcrowd the game just for like adding stuff just for the sake of adding stuff, just to extend the gameplay. Like I'd rather kind of like play it like a Naruto game where like there's gonna be bad guys, but it's not gonna like overcrowd it too much. But my question to you, while we're still on the gaming topic, because if I'm not mistaken, it was relatively recently, I think, that Jump Force actually added some DLC. They added Yoruichi from Bleach into Jump Force. So if they're still doing DLC for Jump Force, do you think they could possibly do some sort of Jujutsu Kaisen DLC down the line? Do you think there's still going to be support for it?
I would absolutely love that. But there's only two parts I think that would happen. One of the parts is easily met. The other part is kind of questionable. One, how well is Jump Force doing right now? Is their fighting community still picking? Because honestly, as a fighting game, it's fantastic. Jump Force is a fantastic fighting game. Some people had reservations about the plot, but again, you don't pick up a fighting game for the plot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's just not. I mean, now if it has a good plot, okay, cool. Just like my complaints about Madden having a good season, like a good story mode, you don't get Madden for the story mode. You don't. Now, is the story good? Yeah, that'd be great. But have you Have now will it real fast before I go ahead and finish this one? God of Honor talked about something we talked about last week. Have you guys seen the Demon Slayer gameplay? I personally think that most anime converted to games go that route. So honestly, as long as it's different than that, I think it could be fun. I agree. I think that now me personally, and I was talking to we brought this up on the show last week when the news is breaking 2 weeks ago or whatever. I think that Demon Slayer could be a very fun game. I would like it to be multiplayer, at least 2 to 3 players. I would like it to have a. Now I know a lot of games kind of go this route. Me personally, I would actually like it to have a Dynasty Warriors feel. I would like it to be a Musou game. That's me personally, and then allow it to grow on that as far as like you have maybe about 8 combos, but the more you get into it, you start unlocking new stances and you start doing X, Y, and Z and stuff like that. Because again, Dynasty Warriors is impeccable. It's a great game. It really is a great game. It's just that they've done so many of those in the Dynasty Warriors genre and the Samurai Warriors genre that sometimes it can feel like it's just the same thing. But at the same time, for people that's coming into Dynasty Warriors for the first time, a Dynasty Warriors style game, like Gravity did with Hyrule Warriors, you know, like he had fun with that. For me, I've always been on the Dynasty Warriors train. Jumped on side Attack on Titan, thought Attack on Titan was going to be kind of the same vein. They had the same map and the same setup, but the gameplay was entirely different. They did Attack on Titan, and again, if you guys decide to pick up Attack on Titan, don't get the first one. Even though the first one's good, the second one way better. And then so I think that it would be a Dynasty Warriors type setup. I know that before, also last week, Gravity had reservations. He said that I would like it to be something that's different than the anime. I would like it to be something that it's not playing what I've already watched. I'd like it to have it to where I can make choices. I can do whatever. I can create my own character, create my own Demon Slayer or whatever. Which I mean, that could happen. It could be cool because again, they did the same thing for Attack on Titan 2, where you created your own person and they inserted you in that same storyline, but from a different point of view. So you're not Eren Yeager, you're not Mikasa, you're not Levi, you're not Armin. You're literally one of their friends that you just created this person from and you went through the survey course with. That part was awesome to me. So Attack on Titan 2 is the one to pick up, but going back to your question about Demon Slayer, I'm excited for Demon Slayer and I'm definitely going to check it out. And I think that Jujutsu Kaisen did the same thing. Certain animes will only work with certain styles of gameplay, and I don't think that an actual adventure for Jujutsu Kaisen would be good, unfortunately. I would love that to be something good. Yeah. I don't think it would be. I think it would just have to be a fighter.
Yeah, because I feel like with Naruto, like some of the games like made a little bit more of an open world, but that was really more so just for Konoha. Like they didn't really like add like a huge open world for some of the other villages in there, but they kind of like, but like I don't, but like what I'm saying is that like I guess like as the series went on, like they had more material to expand the world, and so they had a little bit more wiggle room to try new things and do new things. And I feel like maybe down the line, Jujutsu Kaisen might be able to do the same thing just with everything that they're doing. But I still agree that like Jujutsu Kaisen, at least with what we've seen right now, really fits like real snug into that fighting sequence, especially like with Naruto, with Jump Force, with My Hero Academia. So I definitely think it fits very well into there. But like you were saying with Jump Force, like it's not doing very well. Like it's not doing as well as I would like it to. Because like it looks like on Twitch, like there are hundreds of thousands of people that like follow it, but there's only like 60. I think right, like what I checked, there's only like 60 people watching. So it's kind of a bummer. But granted, I'm not watching it either, so I guess I'm part of the problem.
But it also comes down to when are they doing their tournaments and stuff like that? When are they doing their because there's only so much that you can really stream of a fighting game unless you're like literally there and you're like, hey, let's get a group of AOWT gaming just to fight against each other, be inside the same lobby. We'll stream that, stream our reactions, stream our trash talk. That's entertaining. But if I'm just going, if I'm just going day in and day out, just randoms online, it may not be as entertaining. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got Jump Force. I'm ready to jump back on it.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
I'm ready. I don't know if I still have it downloaded, but I have it in my library, so I'm always ready to jump back on there.
Yeah, I could. Same here. I have it in my library too on the PS4. Let's get it going.
Let's do it, man.
I do want to throw out one hypothetical scenario out there concerning the same vein, and this will be the last thing I'll mention about the Jujutsu Kaisen as a game. This is a stretch. It's a really big stretch.
Okay, all right.
But how would you
I'll go
feel?
with you.
How would you feel about a Jujutsu Kaisen MMORPG to where you create your own Jujutsu Kaisen sorcerer and all the main characters are NPCs in the game that will give you quests and missions and stuff like that. Maybe even help you occasionally on some dungeons. With permadeath.
Ooh. Oh, that's okay. Hold on, I'll tackle those separately. So first, the MMO style. I like MMOs. Like, don't get me wrong. I do really like MMOs. I like the ability to go into a game and see like hundreds of different players around me. Like, I love being able to do that because like the world feels more full. It feels a little bit more alive. I kind of wish MMOs would kind of like fix like congestive spots, because especially like with our time playing Final Fantasy 14, you gotta admit there are definitely some spots that are like where the traffic there is very heavy, where like people are just kind of like overlapping each other, like people like it's just super crowded. Sometimes it's like hard to like get an angle right to talk to the right person. So like I will say that, but me personally, I love the idea of being able to like when you play a game, being able to like make it your own. I love that. Like when I played, like when I play anything, like any sort of like open world game, I love following my own, telling my version of the story. Like when I played Horizon Zero Dawn, like as soon as I kind of like left that valley area, and it was like, okay, like, so go over here. And I was like, okay, so I have to go there, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, but I can go up north, right? Where all the DLC stuff is? And they're like, yeah, you can. Like, so I can go up there and get some good gear, then come back later, right? They're like, well, you could. You might not have fun doing it. And they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to go do that. Mm-hmm. Like with Ghost of Tsushima, like as soon as they drop you in, they're like, cool, go north to the story mission. I'm like, I don't have to go north, do I? No, we could go anywhere. I'm like, so I could go south and like kind of loop around and do some other stuff first, right? And like, I guess. Like, cool, I'm gonna do that first. You know, like it's little things like that where I'd love to, you know, like it's not to the point where like it's no longer just Aloy's story. It's no longer just Jin Sakai's story. It's your story as these characters. And to me, that's what really brings these kind of games to life. And especially when it comes to an MMO, that really opens it up even more. Because if you have your own character, that's now your own story.
Yeah.
And if you're playing with other people, like they're having their own story, they're doing their own thing, and you know, you might be by yourself for a while until you meet some other players who might also be at the same level you are. Maybe you have a friend who is like with us, like when I started, you were like much higher level than I was. And then when we got Silent into the group, he was a much higher level than all of us. Yeah. So it, you know, like sometimes like you find those people and they're just like, they kind of like show you the way. They kind of act as a mentor for you. And I like that. So I think that formula would be great for anything. Like if you do it right. Mm-hmm. With Jujutsu Kaisen so far, there's absolutely the possibility that they can do that. What I would love to see in an MMO is I love options. So if they maybe had like a version where you could either be a Jujutsu sorcerer or you could be a curse, that would be pretty cool. So that way you could have two accounts. You could have your Jujutsu sorcerer account, you could have your curse account, and you could and that's two different stories that you're playing. Yeah. Because if you're a Jujutsu sorcerer, you're getting those missions from Yuji, you're getting them from Gojo, you're getting them from Megumi. So like you're getting them from all of these characters. But if you're a curse, like you're getting them from Mahito. Like you're getting them from some of the other characters. You might be getting them. You might even like somehow get like side missions from like little notes left behind, from Sukuna or Sukuna. Like he might have like left some clues for you, like for like a big mission that you have to do. So I think that like MMOs, if they're done right, can really work. The thing with MMOs is that it takes a lot of maintenance. It takes a lot of time for developers. So it's very work intensive. And we've seen that like with WoW, we've seen it with Final Fantasy. And so it's one of those things that I'm just like, if they do it, they got to do it right.
Right.
But permadeath, that would be interesting.
A permadeath MMO RPG. You start off. It'll like be like a gate for up to level 10, like so that way it can train you how to survive. But then outside of that, the minute you leave that little gate area, that little beginner starter pack, you die, you're dead. You're dead.
I would like, if it was going to be a permadeath, I feel like I would like, because I'm not as adventurous as Mildewy Carrot is. Mildewy Carrot is he's like, oh, I'm going to play Subnautica on permadeath mode and get almost all the way to the end and then die. I'm not as, and then he's like, oh, that was fun. Like I would be screaming. I'd be like, no, I spent all of this time, all of this effort, and it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like permadeath scares me so much. Like I love like the idea of doing it, but it scares me so much. But what I would think would be kind of an interesting idea is kind of like a mix of what you just said, and I don't know if you got around to playing what was it? Jedi Fallen Order.
I haven't played it yet, no.
So something with Jedi Fallen Order that I thought was really interesting was that they had an experience system that kind of worked a little differently, where if you died, it would take away all of your experience. So like you'd still get to like keep any abilities you've unlocked and stuff, but like in terms of like all the experience you've gained, as soon as you die, it takes it away, but it highlights the person that killed you. And if you go and you smack that person with your lightsaber, it gives you all of that experience back. So to me, I think what would be interesting is if maybe they had it so that way maybe you get up to level 10, and then that's when they turn that they flip that switch. But as soon as you died, they put you back at that level 10 spot. They don't start you all the way over at level 1. They put you back at that level 10 spot. And what you have to do is you have to go find that person that killed you, and you have to take them out, and then maybe you get that experience back.
Okay.
So I think that could be interesting, because what it does is because now it gives you a choice where like maybe you were going up against a really tough boss, and maybe you're like, can I really take on this boss with the skills that I have now? Like, would I be able to somehow get that experience back, or do I have to say it's a lost cause? And so it kind of gives you a couple different options to go with. But especially with what we've seen in the anime so far with Sukuna, with Yuji, and how he's and how he kind of he kind of died, but maybe didn't really die. Like, I think that would be kind of an interesting idea that maybe, like, I guess, like, I don't want to say, like, every character is, like, a vessel of Sukuna, because that'd be weird. Because that would kind of make, Itadori, like, a little less special.
Yeah. But
I like that idea of, you die, like, but you don't, like, fully die. Like, you're kind of, like, just, but you're, like, you're put all the way back to a certain point. You lose a bunch of maybe you just lose a bunch of abilities, but you can go get that. You can get those abilities back. You can go get that experience back, and because I think that kind of like changes the story you're crafting. Because anytime you play an MMO, like especially any online game, like the story is yours. They have like a bunch of side stuff, but the story is what you're crafting. But I'll throw this question back at you though. What are your thoughts on how it would look as an MMO?
Well, all right. So there's a game that we need to play actually down the road and together. I actually got out the beginning sequence of it, and I stopped right at the very beginning because I wanted to jump on with the rest of ALWT gaming. I think we are going to have that for a 9 to 5 segment way back when, but then some other games came up. We're like, all right, we got to jump on this. Blade and Soul. Blade and Soul is exactly what I think of when I think of Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's martial arts and everything like that. I don't think that there's any. I mean, there's no cursed energy, nothing like that. To my understanding, I haven't gotten far, but that's what I think of when I think of Jujutsu Kaisen. I just think that in order for it to be a Jujutsu Kaisen type game, I think it has to be a little bit more fast paced and also maybe some more abilities very similar to DC Universe or something like that. Because I think DC Universe did it very well with their abilities to where you can create your own superhero and kind of spec into the attributes you want to have. I think you could do the same thing for Jujutsu Kaisen. So if there's something that was a mix between DC Universe back then versus with Blade and Soul now, if they were somehow able to combine the two, from what I played, I think it would be really good. I think that's something that they could do. So if they did do something like that, I would want them to go the Blade and Soul route. Otherwise, I honestly couldn't think of what else that they could do outside of a fighter to make the game a success. I think it would be a good fighter, or I think if they did an MMORPG, you want to take elements from Blade and Soul and DC Universe. That's my take on that.
Yeah, that's actually really an interesting point that you brought up with that. Yeah, because Blade and Soul definitely looks really pretty. How quick is the combat for it? Is it good?
Very fast.
Is it good? Good. I love fast paced combat. Like that is like my favorite. Like Kingdom Hearts. Like honestly, like Kingdom Hearts style combat. That is like my favorite.
I love
that. Yeah, like I love jumping around. I love high acrobatics. I love being able to just like I love to be able to move within like a split second. Like as soon as I hit a button, boom, I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. I'm really interested to see because like odds are it's probably going to end up being a fighting game down the line, but the possibilities are honestly endless with this series. But speaking of this series, because I know that you're not fully caught up with where they are in the sub, so like you're just like right around the time where Itadori is fighting Mahito. What do you think is next for the villains? What do you think their next move is going to be after this? Like, do you think? I
think that somehow. I think somehow, because Mahito had survived, I think he had learned something. And because ultimately their end goal is to try to find ways to take down their strongest threat, which is Gojo. He's the number one strongest Jujutsu sorcerer that we know of that's in the game, period. I think it's hard for me to say just because right now they're still in that scheming planning phase. Like even Mahito, he couldn't even beat Itadori with Nanami. He couldn't beat them together easily. And he even went inside his domain and royally messed up because he touched Sukuna's soul. And Sukuna was like, just pimp slapped him. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to say. Maybe if Nanami had died, maybe that would have been a different outcome, and maybe that would be allowing them to make their move a little bit more effectively, or whatever the case is, and get past Sukuna and maybe somehow extract Sukuna from Itadori. I can't say, man. I have no idea what the villain's next moves are going to be. I think it's going to still do character building for this time period until Gojo makes a reappearance, because I actually haven't seen Gojo for a couple episodes now. So I think I don't think anything's going to happen with the villains until you see Gojo again, and then at that point there's going to be like, okay, now we can make our move, and then that's going to be them executing their next plan. So As of right now, I think the villains are at a standstill until all the villains are re-healed, because the volcano curse got whooped by Gojo. Easily whooped by Gojo. Yeah.
Like wasn't he just ahead?
Yeah, at the end of the whole thing, he's just ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's just ahead.
Yeah.
Like and that tells you something about Gojo too, because this curse was a special grade curse.
Yeah.
I will say like in my opinion, I think the scaling is a little wonky. Like I think the series is starting to get back on track with scaling, because if I'm not mistaken, like with some of the stuff like down the line, like they're talking about like certain curse levels, and they talk about special grade, because they referred to Sukuna's finger as a special grade cursed item, and then they're sending like students after special grade curses, and you're like, wouldn't you want to send the important people at them? Like I think the excuse they use is that like, oh, like all the other people are doing other stuff.
Yeah.
But like, wouldn't you want to like not send your students to like fight like one of the top tier like curse levels like that there are? But I digress. I definitely think that what they're doing so far is really great. I definitely think that the curse levels is very interesting, but yeah, like the volcano guy was a special grade curse. He's supposed to be really high up there. He's supposed to be like one of like the baddest types of curses that you do not want to cross. Like it was a special grade curse that the kids fought like at the very beginning, that where Itadori had to ask Sukuna for help.
Yeah. That
Sukuna just absolutely wrecked afterwards.
Yeah.
And this guy, and that was like a fresh like special grade curse. The volcano head guy, he had been around for a while,
so he is stronger than he was.
Yeah, and he was reduced to a head.
Yeah, by Gojo.
Who
called him weak.
Yeah, like, and that's what I love about Gojo. I love how funny it can get with strong characters who are very cocky. Like, where they're just, like, nonchalantly just like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Like, don't worry about it.
He literally brought in Itadori to teach him a domain lesson. That tells you how insanely strong Gojo is. We still haven't seen Gojo at his best yet, which is crazy.
Wait, nowhere near his best. And I'm super excited to see what's going to happen from here on out. I know a little bit more about what's going to happen next. After this, they're gonna get into the next arc, which is which is like kind of like that mini battle arc that they kind of have been hinting at, like with Panda and with some of the other characters, like with Toto, with with all the gang visiting from the other Kyoto school. So they are going to start talking about that. So that's a really fun arc that they're doing right now. And that's actually where I really started to like the character of Toto. Just again, from a comedic sense, he's hilarious. But I will say, like, and I wanted to throw this in there real quick, because I've been reading the manga and I have been watching the anime. I've only seen the first 2 episodes of the anime, but I have noticed two differences from the manga versus the anime that I thought were kind of interesting. I'll say this. Ultimately, like, the end result for both of them is exactly the same. Okay. It's like the end result for both of them is exactly the same, but it's just kind of like how they tell the story, and I think it's interesting the way that they do this. And ironically, it's like, I don't even know if it's ironic, but like coincidentally, they were both regarding the fingers of Sukuna that Itadori has eaten so far. So in the anime, they have like Itadori when he's fighting that curse that's attacking his school with Megumi, like Itadori is kind of like wrapped up, and he doesn't have access. Like his arms are like pinned. He has Sukuna's like finger in his mouth, and he's like, oh cool. So like I got it. So like I eat it, and then he just like kind of like flips it up and then swallows it. In the manga, that's actually not the case. In the manga, he's actually standing next to Megumi, and Megumi like mentions like, oh, like yeah, like the curse wants to eat it, so that way he gets more curse power, and he's like, oh, cool, and then he just eats it himself. So like the anime makes it seem like a little bit more of like a desperate move, but like he's still very carefree, so like it is what it is. But the anime almost makes it look more like a very desperate attempt to try to like escape death, whereas the manga was more like, oh, cool. It's like, oh, cool, nice finger. I'm gonna eat that. Like, it was more like nonchalant in the manga, and I thought, and I think that's really interesting the way they told that. The other change that I noticed was when he ate the second finger that Gojo gives him, it's while Itadori's grandfather is being cremated, and in the anime they sit outside on a bench and they're kind of talking about everything with like with his family, and and they're just talking more about Sukuna and being a vessel. And in the anime, they go inside of the crematorium where Itadori is just kind of like picking up his grandfather's bones and putting them into an urn. And it's inside the building that Gojo gives him the finger, and he eats it inside of the building. Whereas in the manga, they're still outside on the bench. And they don't go into the crematorium. Like, they sit on the bench, and he just like, here's the other finger, and he's just like, okay. So like and it's interesting, like, because like I don't think either way is better or worse. I think it's really interesting the way that they're changing that up to kind of like add a little bit more emotion to the scene. Like it's like for the first time, it's adding a little bit more desperation to him consuming the finger, as opposed to just kind of like nonchalantly eating it. And the second time around, it's during like a really like sensitive time. Like he's like picking up the bones of his grandfather. It's a very sad moment, and now he's kind of like closing closing one chapter and opening another. But like like the manga just didn't like it. It wasn't as emotional. And that's okay. Like, I liked both versions, but I thought the differences were neat, and I thought I wanted to mention that.
Gatorana also wanted to throw out there when we were talking about the power of the Gojo, is when he says the fact that he can't get hit, like that little separation that he had when his fingers are like moving and all that good stuff. Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Like, yeah, Gojo's abilities are just absolutely nuts.
Definitely, 100%. I did want to throw out there. Well, first, we're going to go and kind of skip this, but not exactly skip this. You're further than me inside the manga. Where you're at is Itadori with his comrades to reunite with them.
Yes, and it is hilarious.
Okay, all right.
I'll say that it's actually about to happen too. So it's like right about to happen. So like it's right on the cusp. It's hilarious. The way that like he comes back into the group is absolutely hilarious. So I'll keep that. I won't touch on that too much, but he does end up rejoining the group, and it is really funny.
Well, as you guys can see, we got about 10 minutes left, or 12 minutes left of all day anime, and we have much to talk more about for Jujutsu Kaisen. But I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I want to go ahead and get a little bit of insight of what Gravity-Mark 2 has for ReZero. He recently caught up, and you know what? Take the reins. ReZero, where you're at, what are your thoughts? Go.
It's a feels train, man. It is all aboard the feels train. Like, let's go to Emotion City. Let's cry a little bit. Let's feel some stuff. I love it. I love, like, one of my favorite genres is just anything like psychological, like anything that involves like your mental state. Because like for me, because Dragon Ball is not, because I grew up with Dragon Ball. I grew up with like classic just shonen fight anime where it was more so about your physical abilities. And what I've always loved is just kind of the contrast that, because I love and I appreciate those styles, but I also love and appreciate the contrast that any sort of psychological anime has, where they focus on not just like the physical, but like they really focus on the mental state of the characters, especially the main character. They especially with this most recent season, they really talk about his mental state. They talk about how when he goes through and he does the trial, where it shows, first of all, like all of those flashbacks of like what those other realities show happens, or like supposedly happens after he kills himself or after he dies. Oh my god, that almost made me tear up.
Yeah, they're like, you think that the world stops ending when you die? Think again. And they showed him everything.
Yeah, like where he like when he ends up like finding Rem's body, where like she's still technically alive, but like she's not waking up, and he thinks that he can fix it by going back, and he stabs himself in the friggin' throat. Like he stabs himself in the throat. Like he's so desperate to try to like save her that he's just like, oh, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna go back, and he doesn't go back far enough. And it shows what happens afterwards. It shows Emilia just bawling her eyes out, saying, "You lied to me. You told me you loved me. Why did you do this?" And it just hurts so much. I'm like, oh,
there's so
no.
much. There's so much in here that it rips your heart out, man.
It does. It's so emotional. And when he does the trial, when he talks, it shows all of those realities, what happens after he's dead. And then eventually it shows this this hypothetical reality of where he's living with his family again. And where he gets to talk to his parents. He gets to talk to his parents again, and he gets to you get to see his dad. You get to see where he gets his very quirky personality. Yep. And then you get to see his mom, where he gets his eyes and he gets kind of hit a little bit more of a calm demeanor sometimes. And you see that the reason he kind of acts the way he does is because he's always been trying to chase that how great his dad is. Everyone loves his dad. His dad's handsome, he's buff, he's outgoing, he's very charismatic, he's funny, everyone loves him, and that's a lot to live up to. And anybody who's had a parent like that, or at least has perceived to have a parent like that, I love my dad. My dad's freaking awesome. I tried to do I love doing things with my dad. So I don't fully get it, but but I get it, you know? You see how he doesn't feel like he can meet up to those standards. You see how he kind of puts himself down, where when he was younger, he was great. He was so good at everything. Yeah. and everybody loved him. And as he got older, other people started to have their growth spurts and have their moments, and they started to pass him. And he was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on being funny. And even then, people started to leave, and he kind of became a shut-in. And that kind of picks up to where he's right about to leave, and his mom kind of tells him to tells him good luck or something. It's so he gets closure in a sense. He gets to meet his parents again and tell them the things that he was really feeling. And he gets that closure, and he gets that character growth. And even when he screws up during the that big meeting in season 1 where he ends up kind of speaking out during the royal selections kind of ceremony, where Emilia is no, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
I don't care if you say you're doing it for me, you're really doing it for you.
Yeah. Because
this isn't what I wanted. And I think that in a sense and I mean, geez, you and your wife have been together forever. It takes a lot to foster a healthy relationship with somebody. It takes a lot. There's gonna be there's gonna be slips, there's gonna be trips. like, and we're gonna mess up sometimes. But what I think the show does sometimes is, like, especially with him and Amelia, there are those moments where, like, you might think you're doing it for the right reason, but the other person's like, no, you're not. Like, that's not the right reason. That's not what I wanted. Like, if you're saying you're doing it for me, then do what I like. Then I'm telling you what I want, and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that it tackles these mental states that these characters are in, and it kind of shows kind of like the growing pains of what a healthy relationship looks like, where you don't it's not all, you know, cotton candy and, you know, fun, sweet, happy times. It's like sometimes there are arguments, sometimes there are disputes, sometimes there's all sorts of issues, and the story is really working through those. It's showing them working through those at a mental, subconscious level, like trying to get yourself mentally in the right place, and I like that. And even when he has his meeting with all of the witches, all the witches turn up. I was like, dude, what? like when he like actually comes face to face with the Witch of Envy,
Yeah.
like the one who's been like kind of like pulling the strings supposedly this whole time.
Yeah, HD.
Like, yeah, like she's like super into him.
Yeah, I
she's
like her a lot. I don't know why, but I do like her. And it's probably because where I'm at right now, to be completely honest with you. That might be the reason why. Yeah.
I like her too. Like anybody who's gone through any sort, because like for me, this is how I kind of like pictured her. Like anybody who's gone through any sort of depression before, kind of like gets that feeling of like almost getting comfortable with like how like crappy you feel, where like you feel like everything just seems really dark, everything just sucks. But for whatever reason, like that feeling, to an extent, can sometimes feel comforting. Because it's almost like a confirmation bias, where you're just like, man, I feel like really sad, and your internal dialogue's like, yeah, you do, and you have every reason to feel sad. You're like, yeah, I do have every reason to feel sad. Everything sucks, and it's almost just like that darkness just kind of like coming up and being like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and you're just like, yeah, I guess you do. It's just like, no, like it. I kind of like liked how they illustrated that. And maybe I'm just looking too far into it, but that's kind of like how I perceived it. And I like that. I like that even though like he's like, no, like you're like you're all wrong for all of these reasons. Like this one character who's been kind of like screwing with them this whole time actually kind of cares about him in a way. And is like, hey, like please, like just care, like it's great that you care about everyone else. Care about yourself too. Like don't, like it's nice that you put other people before you sometimes, but like make sure like you're one of those people that you put like up there.
Yeah.
Because like anybody who's been in that position where they've put like their friends before themselves, their family before themselves, their jobs before themselves, they get put, you find that you're just like unhappy. And you're just like, I'm being nice. I'm putting all of these things before me. Like, I'm prioritizing these things. Why am I not happy? And you feel almost like selfish for wanting to do stuff for yourself. And it's this kind of story that kind of reminds you like, hey, like take a break. Like if you're tired, relax. Like other people are strong too. Like if you think you're strong, just know that those people are strong too. They can get through stuff too. So don't feel like you have to save everybody. Like you're allowed to be weak. You're allowed to have those moments of weakness, those moments of vulnerability. And that's also something that that is kind of like and it's not like as heavily pushed for boys, but like how many times like have you been told growing up like, oh, like man up. It's like toughen up. Like you're supposed to be big and strong, and you're not supposed to, you know, worry about too much. Like you're supposed to be like the big strong man. And it's just like, no, like you're allowed to like you can be that, but you're allowed to cry sometimes. You're allowed to show signs of weakness. Like because like that's what we all are. At the end of the day, we're all just human. Right. And I love how the show is really telling that story very well. Not just through these big battles, but it's really showing it through all of the mistakes he's making in the process, with all of his deaths that he's had, with all the mistakes he's making, with his mental state. I love it. I absolutely love it. And with what they've been showing so far, like right now, they're still kind of they were showing a lot of Emilia's backstory when she was doing her trial.
Yeah.
This most recent episode they showed, it was actually a backstory of, oh geez, what is his name? The guy. It was after him though, but I thought his story was really interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like,
we'll definitely have to talk more about that later. But yeah, Gius was his name. That was the guy, the sloth. But you said there's another guy that they showed after that.
It's the head of the mansion that they live in. The guy with the clown makeup.
Roswell.
Yeah, Roswell. They show a backstory with him. They show, and it's not just Roswell's backstory. It's
Beatrice.
It's Beatrice's backstory. It's the backstory of this other character that's like all these other people are cloned but from. So and it's also like the backstory of the Witch of Greed, who's been a very pivotal character in the series so far. Oh, what's going on?
Made his little debut.
What's going on? He's got to make his cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on, man? Oh. Dude, he's getting so big.
Yeah, but that actually does it here for us at all day anime. I did want to throw out there a hidden gem that came out, and it looks like Malachi's trying to help me with that. So the hidden gem that we have is Our Last Crusade. All right. There's more to it, but it's on Funimation. For years, a seemingly endless war has raged between. Here you go, son.
I'd rather talk.
All right, yeah. For years, a seemingly endless war has raged between the technological advanced heavenly empire and the country of powerful magic users known as the Nebulous Sovereignty. In present day, a master swordsman from the empire named Isuke and the Ice Calamity Witch from Nebulous ruling family Alice. Well, Alice, I can't say that, but we'll just say Alice because that's what they call her on the show. Meet on the battlefield, determined to kill each other. However, even as enemies, both harbor a secret desire to peacefully end the war between their two nations without further bloodshed. As circumstances continuously conspire to bring them together, Isuke and Alice begin to wonder if they can find peace with each other at first, and through this create a path to bring an end to this war. So, definitely recommended. It's one that I keep on. It's one that I keep on finding myself seeing if there's new episodes out each week. Son, he just woke up. But yeah, it's definitely one that I keep bringing myself to each week to see if there's any new episodes and everything like that. So definitely recommend it. Our Last Crusade, or I think it's the beginning of a new world or something like that. So highly recommended there. We're a little over on our time, but we do have more things to talk about. Again, next Sunday, we're going to talk a little bit more about that time I got reincarnated as slime, possibly some more ReZero updates, Promised Neverland for sure, as that's kind of taking shape. But of course, don't forget today, new episode of Attack on Titan had a hit today, so be on the lookout for that if you guys are following Attack on Titan. Gravity-Mark, do you have any updates or news before we go ahead and wrap this thing up?
That's all I have so far. I'm gonna be reading more manga this weekend. Definitely gonna be catching up on some stuff. I need to get back to Dr. Stone.
Yeah, say
I think the anime is like actually now past where I was where I left off in the manga. So now I'm kind of like, oh, now I gotta play catch up.
There you go.
Gotta play catch up. So, but as I say every week, peace, love, and anime, everybody. Let's just all get along. Let's all just chill out. Let's watch some anime together.
Most certainly. And as always, yeah, like I said, we're here next Sunday, same time, noon, until 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, you guys can check Mildewy Carrot and his brother going through Halo. I think it's Halo 1 now. They got through Halo Reach, if I'm not mistaken.
Blowing through the Master Chief Collection, aren't they?
Yeah, trying to get through it. This Tuesday is All Things Gaming, so be on the lookout for that. It's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Thursday is Smite Night with the Smite Night crew, pretty much all day, but I will be joining in at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which brings us all the way till next Sunday, as I already said before, All Day Anime, Episode 9. So, appreciate you guys, love you guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.